Have you ever wondered what your favorite Destiny content creator would make if they worked at Bungie? Well, we're going to see what they've got today. Today, I asked Ascendant Nomad, Forcer, 1 Second Kill, and Pattycakes what exotic they would like to see within Destiny 2. I got a huge slew of ideas ranging from pulse rifles to SMGs to sniper rifles. So what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of just work our way through this. I'm going to go alphabetically because I'm going to reveal at the end of the video whose idea I actually think is the best idea in terms of balance, design, fun, flavor, etc. And you guys can of course leave your comments down below who you think had the best idea. And you can leave some of your ideas as well. Maybe you get featured the next time we do this. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in here. Like I said, we're going to go alphabetically here because I don't want to like give away any type of favoritism towards anything. So we're starting with Ascendant Nomad, who wanted to take the idea of the Touch of Malice back in Destiny 1. Now, we've actually done a video slightly covering the Touch of Malice previously. In case you weren't there, or in case you don't know, the Touch of Malice was a scout rifle in the kinetic slot. Well, everything was in the kinetic slot back then, but that's neither here nor there. Where what it would do is when you got onto the last bullet, it would deal damage to you, the person actually firing the weapon, in exchange for bonus damage. This made this really, really good for a particular encounter within the raid back in the day, but obviously that's not as interesting anymore because we've got a lot more power. Like the difference between Destiny 1 power level and Destiny 2 power level, and I'm not talking about the number, I'm talking about like what we can do in the game is just blown out of proportion now. So we had to scale this up a little bit. He wanted to make this into a pulse rifle. So this is what we came up with. This is the Grasp of Malice. Now, he didn't answer what he wanted this to be in terms of its archetype. I think this would be really cool as a 540 pulse rifle. And by the way, if you're looking at this art and going, wow, Misum, you're really good at art, I'm absolutely not. All of the artists here that I have pulled from are all in the description, as well as everybody who submitted their ideas, their channels. So go check out Ascendant Nomad, Forcer, OSK, and Pattycakes in those links down below. But anyway, this is the Grasp of Malice. I love the way this turned out. This was the original art that I found, which is cool, but that's a sidearm, or at least close to a sidearm. Not really what we're looking for. Then I did this, worked it around a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Added the color, and then it's beautiful. It was beautiful. But anyway, the exotic perk is called Dreaded Countenance. Firing this weapon deals damage over time to the wielder. Now, when I showed this to my friend Scapegoat, he said, hey, the handle and the stock would actually hurt the person trying to hold it because they get like stabbed. And I said, yes, that's the point. Ain't it cool? It's like as you're holding this, the Guardian would kind of like damage himself, right? So obviously firing this weapon would cause that bit of poison damage. This would be capable of ramping up and killing you. So if you're not careful and you're firing a whole bunch of shots out, this will kill you, right? So you do have to be cautious of that, but this is made up for in the Grasp of Mercy, which is the exotic perk, which is deals more damage the lower your health becomes. Kills grant a portion of health. So obviously dealing more damage the lower your health becomes is just perfect for what this is trying to do, and it's great for gunfights as you would essentially get a stack of Rampage at about half health and 2 stacks of Rampage at critical health, meaning that you could keep a high damage output for a good portion of the fight, for the only trade-off being that you have to be careful yourself. So it's a very risk-reward orientated weapon. And of course, kills granting a portion of health allows you to stay in the fight a little bit longer, allows you to keep killing things and keep on rolling with this weapon, kind of feeding all into itself, right? I thought this was a relatively solid idea. The Grasp of Mercy idea was my idea here, just because Nomad just was a little bit too busy working on some of these new videos. But let's go ahead and roll on to the next content creator, who is Forcer. Now, if you're watching a lot of the big names, you might not know who Forcer is. Forcer is a community tab expert. He posts a lot of memes and a lot of dank memes. You should definitely check him out if you like the Destiny related memes. And he does also a lot of small clips as well as like portrayed as stuff. He's a lot smaller of a content creator, very undersubbed. He's great. There seems to be a lot of like really undersubbed clipped creators. But anyway, I'm getting off track again. He wanted the idea of an exotic SMG and the energy slot that deals void damage. His idea is called The Future Is Now. Like I mentioned, it is a void SMG with a big drum mag, so a huge magazine that's attached to, and the exotic perk for this is called Black Hole in the Sky. Reloading summons a healing rift for however much ammo is left in the magazine. So if you had a lot of ammo still left in that magazine, when you hit that reload button, the rift would last for a very long time. I think he said it scaled up to 5 seconds. So, I mean, that doesn't seem like much, but in the gunfight, that can be huge. That can be really clutch. And this is literally just a free rift. So I can only imagine some of the synergies that could come out of this. And it has explosive rounds. We have an explosive round SMG, so already off to a very interesting start. And the exotic perk is called Science Brings Change. Rifts grant increased damage, handling, stability, and range per each kill before reloading. Initially, he had this as the catalyst, but I just don't have enough space on screen to do both the intrinsic trait, the exotic trait, and the catalyst. So the initial trait was that it also had Firefly, so a very explosive orientated SMG. Gives me very much the Risk Runner vibes as it being sort of a crowd control tool, as well as giving you some decent options for being able to hold your ground. Obviously, that rift being something very critical to being able to get a little bit of bonus damage, health, and just reliability out of this, right? You can almost play this as a weird support tool. I was able to get pretty close to the art as well. Like I said, the artists are in the link in the description down below, so check them out. I was pretty happy with how this ended up turning out. But we have a lot more to go through here. We have another SMG idea from another content creator, OSK, or 1 Second Kill if you're not familiar. He is a streamer, does some Destiny content on YouTube every now and then, but mostly streams on Twitch. He had the idea that took the idea of the Risk Runner. He said he absolutely loved Risk Runner and wanted to see that just taken to an extreme, right? He wanted to take that idea and expand upon it further, so he came up with the idea of the Infinity Runner. As you can see here, this is actually art from Borderlands. I've tweaked a little bit here to make this look a little bit more special. And the exotic perk is called Omniconductor. Taking elemental damage allows a brief moment to absorb it and use it for this weapon's damage. So let's say that you're doing something, let's say like, I don't know, a raid, and you're sitting there shooting your Infinity Runner, which by default does, let's say, arc damage, right? And then you take some void damage from a nearby enemy. You could then press the reload button to absorb that damage for a brief period of time. So it gives you a brief moment of invulnerability to that damage type. And then once it's done reloading, you can then fire this weapon back with that void damage. And of course, this is tied in beautifully with the charge distribution exotic trait, which is damaging targets with an absorbed element chains that element's damage. So essentially it allows you to kind of like play like a Risk Runner. I think we could definitely do some fun stuff where like maybe the void stuff can suppress a group of targets all at once. Maybe if you get a kill or something like that. Obviously flames could burn things, stasis could slow things, all kinds of fun stuff you could do with this. My only concern is that this does seem to slightly one up the Risk Runner just a little bit, because obviously Risk Runner is very similar, but maybe we could consider this an upgrade to the Risk Runner. Maybe some exotic trait, or I should say exotic quest down the line, has us go out and actually upgrade the Risk Runner to this Infinity Runner, which could be pretty cool. By the way, as for the aesthetic for this, which I like to think about how this would look in game, right? Because obviously we only get pictures here. I think that this would be cool if these little crystals that you're seeing around the barrel of the gun actually would fire out. Like those would be the things that fire out. And then what you would reload in the magazine is actually energy that pulsates off of the end of the barrel and charges those little crystals that fire out, right? So I don't know, I get a lot into the details here, but I thought it would be pretty cool looking from, you know, a first person perspective, watching each of those crystals fire out from each corner of the gun as it's just lighting a target up with this different damage. Last up is Pattycakes, an on the rise content creator, has some really cool stuff with a lot of tier lists. If you like that kind of rating system, he's done all kinds of stuff, even to the point of doing playstyle tier list, which I'm not salty that he called the Ariana's Vow quick swap combo a low tier skill play. I'm not at all. I'm actually joking though, but what he did come up with was he wanted to take an idea back from Destiny 1. So this one's a fan favorite. You might already be able to guess what it is. Devram K uses it. It was a kinetic exotic primary ammo sniper rifle with an iron sight. A lot of Destiny 1 veterans loved this thing just because of the uniqueness of this weapon. And this is the No Land Beyond. Like I mentioned, it is an exotic kinetic. This one doesn't take primary ammo because obviously that'd be a little bit busted now. Low zoom or iron sight scoped sniper. Its exotic perk is called Primary Care. Slow firing, heavy hitting, anti-barrier bullets with an iron sight. So kind of all that idea. It does have anti-barrier rounds built into it, so this would be something that would be great for anti-barrier champions. One thing that is worth pointing out is that we didn't go too much into the details here, but obviously the No Land Beyond initially, like the original design of it, did fire a bit slower than normal sniper rifles. That's what kind of kept it balanced. So I think that would be a cool way to do this here, is that this actually has a lower fire rate than even your lowest fire rate sniper. So think like your 55 RPM shotgun in a sniper, right? So it'd even be slower than the slowest, right? Obviously it would deal a bit more damage too. This would be capable of one-shot botting with even the slightest bit of damage bonus. So if you're standing in an empowering rift, it would guarantee a body shot, whereas right now the high impact snipers can almost body shot. And then the exotic perk is called the Master. Multiple precision hits increase the fire rate for a brief period of time. So as you're getting kills, let's say on ads or on guardians, you could continue to ramp up the fire rate of this thing, similar to like a reverse adagio, the new perk that came with this season. So we could even call it like, let's see, adagio is to slow down. So what's to speed up? Allegro, that's what it's called, Allegro. So maybe we could even call it Allegro, as it's essentially the opposite of Adagio. So it would go from 55 to 72 to 90 to 140. And then if you could maybe get this all the way up to maximum, maybe 150, maybe if we wanted to go absolutely crazy with it, we could give it 180. 180 RPM sniper rifle could get a little bit nuts, but obviously you'd have to continuously string these kills together, which would be a bit difficult and would be a lot of fun. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of all of these ideas in the comments down below. Be sure to, of course, judge each of them very harshly, giving your opinion to what you think of each content. I'm joking. Please don't do that. Please, like, these are just ideas. Please don't get nasty in the comment section. Be fair. Be polite, be kind. These guys are all very, very nice to allow me to feature their ideas. And by the way, my favorite idea of all of these is actually